Hey, I'm Mike Tuchscherer. I'm here at CrossFit Tustin in Tustin, California. We're here to talk about the deadlift. Before we get going, just a little bit about my deadlift training philosophy. I come from a powerlifting background, and most of the people that I coach are powerlifters or have a heavy strength focus. And coming from that world, we treat strength as a skill. So we're trying to develop the skill of deadlifting, and we train it like a skill. So we deadlift often, at least once a week, and as soon as we can get people to be conditioned to handle it, then we'll have them deadlift twice a week. And then at that point, it gives us a lot more flexibility to do things like add in variations while still developing the skill of the competition style deadlift. As far as deadlift technique, I will, if you don't mind, I'll jump in here real quick and kind of give a little expert demonstration on what I do as I set up my deadlift. I'm going to go here to about a 3/4 angle. You can probably see things fairly well at that point. I line up on the bar. I obviously deadlift with a conventional stance. I want the bar over my midfoot. I stand fairly close to the bar too. Forward back placement can be a little bit off because the bar is going to roll. So if you're off by a little bit, it'll roll and you can find that sweet spot. But your stance width, a good place to start as far as finding your stance width is a jump stance. Drop your arms straight down. You don't want to be too wide. That makes the range of motion a lot longer. You also don't want to be too narrow because then knees can push out on elbows. Elbows aren't supposed to bend that way. So drop your arms straight down. I use an over-under grip. You can use a hook grip. You probably don't want to just use a double overhand grip without some sort of grip aid. It's difficult to deadlift heavy at that point. So I use an over-under. And you'll see in the deadlift videos that I do some pressure breathing. I've heard people say it sounds like sneezing or something. That's a very unfortunate time to sneeze. It's not sneezing. I'm forcefully exhaling. I don't know why I do that. I don't know where I developed it or have any great reasons for it. It just helps me get more air in. You don't have to do it. The point is, it's just a style thing that helps me get more air in on the last breath. So after you get your grip, you do whatever you do. Take the last big breath in, then drop the hips down. You want to lock the lats down and then pull.
Any tips for particularly bigger lifters who might have trouble getting into a good starting position, so like foot or hand adjustments they might want to make?
Right. Bigger lifters do have some difficulty. It's very difficult to get into a neutral spine position in the bottom. And some people are going to be just too big for it, even with a sumo stance. So some things that you can do, adjusting foot placement, and it'll be a little bit leverage dependent. One thing that's easy to do is to raise the hips up. So if you've got a lifter with maybe longer thighs, by dropping the hips down, it moves the hips further away behind the bar, and it makes it difficult to keep everything in a good alignment. So you'll see that they'll maybe round their lower back in the bottom. What you can do to help that is if they start with a bit of a hips higher position, they can keep their spine neutral in the bottom. So finding that right start position is key, and it's also very dependent on leverages. One thing about locking the lats down, if you shrug up. If you pull with your lats, you pull down. You can think of it as trying to pull the shoulder blades down toward the back pockets. You can also think of it as bending the bar. If you watch where my hands are when I flex my lats, it's lats and upper back, but it kind of creates a pulling movement in this direction. And if you watch somebody who takes, like if I take my starting deadlift position, which is about here, this is with no lats flexed, and you can see where my shoulders are. And you can also see the bar drifts away from me a little bit. If I flex my lats, I pull my lats in tight, the bar comes to my shins, and my shoulders come down. That holds the bar in close to the body. If the bar drifts away from your body, it creates a really bad leverage position as the bar drifts away from you. It makes it very difficult to lock out. So by holding the bar in close, you keep your leverage advantage. So that's probably the biggest cue, and the cue that I give most is pulling with the lats and locking the lats in. Let's go ahead and get started with you guys, if you don't mind.